tour in Europe on the continent, just so you know. Unless you're making more than 50,000 euros gross, you don't need one. You do in the UK. So even if you transfer through the UK for more than 4 hours, so if you have a flight, for example, and it's a more than 4-hour delay, you need a visa. So you have to be aware of that if you're touring Italy or something. We've had an artist that's toured Italy and had an 8-hour layover. They needed a visa. So I wouldn't spend more than £100 on a visa. That's the standard price that people charge. That's the price that my people charge. And that's mostly a handling fee of paying someone to sit there and type it in. And you cannot travel to the UK without one. Please don't ever travel to the UK without one. It's very, very important. But the beauty of them is they can be issued as you're walking up to the border guard. They're instantaneous. It's an online system that the border guard logs into, swipes your passport, types in your name, and a number comes up. It's called a GWF number. And the number is assigned to your passport. Then they just stamp it, and they write down who your sponsor is. And then what you need to do after that is you need to scan that stamp and send it to your sponsor, because that's what the sponsors are audited on. They're audited on your entry stamps. They have to make sure that the permit was issued and that you leave. That's all. So what happens with the sponsor is that the border agency comes to your office. They just did it last week to one of mine, and they issue you, and they ask, can I see your stamps? And that's how you do. And if you don't have one, then your sponsorship is on hold. And this has happened with about half a dozen music festivals in the UK. All music festivals that have over 5,000 attendants were automatically issued as sponsors in the UK. So if you play a music festival, they should be able to issue your sponsorship. But unfortunately, bands sometimes, or people sometimes don't send in their stamps. And there's been 6 right now festivals that are on hold. It's funny, the actual word they use on the system is blacklisted, but on hold. And then they can't issue any more permits until you get the stamp. This happened with a festival that we just dealt with a few weeks ago. So, taxes. Okay, this is immigration and taxes. Oh, you can do it the day before. Yeah, as long as you have someone to issue your permit and you have all the information. It's basic information. It's your name, where you live, a scan of your passport, details of all the promoters booking your shows. You need their phone number, you need their email address, you need the address of the venues, you need to know how much money you're making, and then your flight details. And it's really, really important to not play a show that's not on the permit. Because if the show is at a licensed venue, the venue will report the show to PRS, right? And they audit PRS as well to make sure that all the artists that have come in have played sponsored shows. I don't really think they do anything about it, but you have to be careful. And if you're playing a house show, it counts. If you're playing a free show, it counts. You have to make sure, if you're just coming to the UK and you're not making money, you still need a visa. Simple. There's no such thing as... Oh, if you have a British passport, you're fine. Oh, this is only for non-EU passport holders. Yep. Anyone with an EU passport can do whatever they want in Britain, right? Hence, so that's pretty much the way. If you have a band member, we had a band just yesterday that we sorted a permit at. One had a French passport, one had a Canadian. The band still required a permit. So. Yeah, if you want to get one through me, you can. We have sponsors that we work with. They're all vetted, legally checked, all that stuff.
Do you have a EU passport you live in Canada?
No. It has to be a company registered in England and Wales. It's not based, and the company, there's strict rules with that. I'm not going to get into that, to be honest.
You mentioned when you leave, you have to turn the stamp in. Is that on the, if I just travel and crew when we don't have a stamp, I get the passport?
Yeah, every single member of the touring party has to scan the stamp and email it to the sponsor. Simple. There's no time limit, really. Usually you're audited once a year, but you're told 3 weeks before that you're going to be audited. So, and often the lazy sponsors then get really frantic. So, but you have to make sure that you do that. If you do not do that, then you will not be allowed to apply for another permit, because then your band name will not be checked off the list. You know what I mean? That you've come and gone. So you're essentially barring yourself from going back to the UK. So that's sort of how it works. And again, it's only valid for 2 months. And every time you come to the UK, you have to get a permit. These permits, they just last for a certain amount of time, and you have to keep getting them. There's no limit on how many you can get. You could tour the UK 7 times in a year if you want and get 7 permits. They don't care, as long as you get a permit. Simple, okay? They just want to know who's coming in and out. That's this whole system in the UK. I'm happy to answer any more questions. I think I'm taking too long. I just want to talk about tax. It's also fun. As I said there, the UKBA and the HMRC websites have all the information for you. UKBA is UK Border Agency. HMRC is Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs. They're the tax people. If you go to their websites, all this is there, I promise. And it's relatively readable. Relatively. So you just sort of have to wade through it. Taxes. Everything that you sell in the UK, whether it be a fee that you receive to perform, or you sell merch or whatever, or you do a licensing deal with a television commercial, for example, and you get a set fee for that. Everything is taxable. And if you make over £1,000 gross in your entire trip, you're subject to something called a withholding tax. And this exists here too in Canada. Withholding tax in the UK is 22%. So what they do is they withhold 22% of what you make as tax, essentially. And you can claim it back, but you have to claim it, or you can get it reduced. And the way to get it reduced, and this is the best way to go about it, is essentially preparation. There is something called the FEU in the UK, which is the Foreign Entertainers Unit. That's what it stands for, and it is 4 people who work in Edinburgh at the HMRC. And all their job is to monitor this for foreign entertainers. There's a form called the FEU 6. That's what it's called, and the form is an application to reduce your withholding tax. This needs to be done at least 30 days before you enter the UK, before you make your money. So what you need to do, and the best possible way to do it, is just make sure things are confirmed well in advance. It's sort of like getting a visa to the States, right? You have to, the further in advance you get your stuff sorted, the cheaper it is. It's the same system. So you have to submit a form. The form just states how much money you're making, where you're playing, basic stuff. And you fill it into them and you apply to them to have your tax reduced. If you make between £1,000 and £5,000 and you jump through their hoops, they will usually reduce your withholding from 22% to 8%, which is pretty good. What happens is they'll take 8% of your fee, they will mail you a form, and you attach it to your Canadian tax return. So you get this, so it evens out, right? They will literally post you a form. If you don't do that, you won't get your tax. Your 22% will be withheld. It will be withheld at the border. And the more money you make, the less chance that you're going to have taxes withheld at all. If you're making £100,000, for example, they're going to want to take as much as they can. Trust me. But on average, if you go through the hoops and you make sure you do this in advance and you get in touch with them, and their email address is on their website, and they do check it every day and email you back, you will get your tax reduced between 22 to about 15%. Mm-hmm.
So when you come back to Canada and pay taxes,
You'll get the tax back. They'll mail you a form showing that you paid.
but what about the Canadian taxes that you pay on that? Would you pay on the amount after they've taken their tax?
Yeah, you would pay on the amount, yeah. You don't pay tax twice. That's what I'm learning. You don't pay tax twice. And I'm not in a... Mm-hmm.
You would pay in Canada on the gross, and then use the receipt.
And then use the receipt to get it back. Yeah, to offset.
Taxes.
Yeah,
You don't pay any net.
yeah, exactly. You don't pay twice, I promise. Mm-hmm. No, the promoters, if you're working with a major promoter, they will withhold it for you, yes. But if you're working independently, then no. Mm-hmm.
So you're saying is this an individual thing, individual taxes, or what if you were a corporation or you had partnership? How does that work?
It depends on the essential legal agreement you enter into for these performances. If you enter in as a corporation, then it's the corporation. If you, it's whoever's, whatever legal name is playing the shows, essentially, is how you have to go about that. So if it's you personally as a company, incorporated, so on and so forth. So the key with all this that I've learned is that you just have to do it in advance. And they're not, the UK is one of the easiest countries in Europe actually with this that I'm learning. I'm learning about all the other ones as well. And 30 days is the minimum amount that they will even really consider you for a reduction of your withholding tax.